Good afternoon, you guys. It's your boy B Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. You understand what I'm saying? Um, we're gonna have a lot of different videos coming on here today. So make sure to keep the bell icon on for all the latest notifications when I drop some videos here. Um, there's been one particular thing that has been kind of boggling in my mind the last couple of days, and that's particularly when it comes to the Horace Grant stuff. Okay, now before I came on and recorded this video, I watched the episode on Undisputed um, yesterday, particularly when they were talking about the Horace Grant and Michael Jordan taking away his food in the plane one time, and Shannon Sharpe actually he didn't call up Horace Grant. Horace Grant actually called up Shannon Sharpe. Okay, and Shannon Sharpe basically returned his voicemail, and they basically talked about a lot of Horace Grant's experiences with Michael Jordan, which were not particularly good. Okay, and the food incident, he did admit it did happen because he remembered back. I think this because it was when he was a rookie. I think he was talking about when anytime when Horace Grant would have a bad game, Michael Jordan basically took away. It was like you played like shit, and Horace Grant basically said, "If you're not doing nothing to me." And I think that story, when he mentioned that Brad Sellers was restraining him to try to stop the fighting from happening. I think it might have been during his rookie year. I think I'm not really particularly sure. It may have been during his rookie year. Okay. But Shannon Sharpe, when he was basically trying to, talking about, some of the stuff that Horace Grant was telling him, he basically said, listen, when Fox Studios allows people to bring in our guests again, I'm going to try to convince Horace Grant to come down here because there's so many things in that story that I'm too uncomfortable in talking about. And Skip Bayless is trying to deflect, try to negate about what Horace Grant was saying and all that because that's what Skip Bayless does. Now, I'm I'm telling you this. I'm kind of conflicted by this because I feel for Horace Grant because I feel that he got basically the wrath of Jordan, but going on national television and basically, spilling the beans about what was going on in the locker rooms or on the plane, during your time when you're playing with Chicago and with Michael Jordan. Listen, I I I think he's making a terrible mistake with that, and here's why. If there were a lot of issues that there was going on in that locker room during that time, and you basically, feel some sort of very bad way against Michael Jordan, these are the kind of things that you don't try to spill out on national television because not only is it going to make yourself look bad, it's going to make you look like a snitch. All right. And we already know that Michael Jordan's personality was not revering to a lot of players because a lot of the players did not like him at all because of his personality. They respect him as a player, but let's keep in mind they don't respect his personality because they drove him hard. All right. Here's the thing about this though, bro. Like I said in the last video yesterday, Horace Grant, particularly during that time when he was playing, was very mentally weak. Listen, if Michael Jordan is basically going to try to take away your food from you or things of that sort, listen, man, you got to stand up for yourself and not put up with it. And Michael Jordan knew that Horace Grant was mentally weak, and he basically knew that no matter what Jordan was able to do to Horace was not going to do a damn thing about it. And the only person that Michael Jordan was never ever going to do that to was Charles Oakley because Charles Oakley was one of the toughest people in the NBA. If Michael Jordan was smart to know that, listen, I can't do that to Charles Oakley because Charles Oakley would legally beat the hell out of me, and everybody knew that. Everybody in the locker room during that time when Charles Oakley was playing with the Bulls, they all knew that. Horace should have stood up for himself. He should have stood up for himself and not put up with it. He should have basically, fought the dude and threatened him like, "Listen, you keep messing around with me. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you." All right, that's what you got to do, particularly against a bully. And he should have taken a cue what Bill Cartwright did in '91 too, because remember, Bill Cartwright was getting ride very hard and he was getting berated heavily by Michael Jordan in one particular game. And Bill Cartwright had enough of his BS and basically took him to the back and said, "Listen, if you ever do that again, you'll never play basketball ever again because I'm going to break both of your legs." And after that, Michael Jordan did not mess around with Bill Cartwright after that. And then you fast forward back to 1997, okay? Because the story about with him between Jordan and Robert Parrish is almost in the light. Okay, because remember, this was Robert Parrish's final season in the NBA during the 96-97 season when he was 43 years old. All right. Brevers played in 3 different decades in the NBA and won 3 championships with the Boston Celtics. What is it? I think he won his first championship with the Warriors. Let me check it out real quick. Just real quick. Oh yes. Oh yeah. No, he didn't. Okay, no, he didn't. Okay, for sure. Yeah. So he won 3 championships with the Celtics. Okay. So he was not in all of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen what they were doing because he previously won championships with with 3 other Hall of Famers: Dennis Johnson, rest in peace, Kevin McHale, who was a Minnesota product over here, and also Larry Bird, who I've heard stories about Bird that Bird was basically even harder than Michael Jordan. All right, and so it was a practice one time in '97. Okay, and they were basically got into a heated exchange, during the scrimmage when Parrish's team was basically beating the crap out of Jordan's team in a scrimmage game. And Robert Parrish basically stood up to him and said, "Listen, I told him I'm not enamored with you like these other guys. I've got some rings too." Right. And then Michael Jordan stood up to him and said, "I'm going to kick your ass." And then Robert Parrish stood up to him and looked down on him and said, no, you really aren't." And then after that, Michael Jordan did not mess around with him. And also, there's another thing that you ought to also point out. During the off season, Robert Parrish was basically learning mixed martial arts, and he was training in mixed martial arts. So there was no chance in hell that Michael Jordan was going to do anything to Robert Parrish. All right, that's what you have to do against a bully like that. Stand up for yourself and not take any crap. Horace did not do that. All right, that's the big fault that he has. Now I'm sure there's probably more stories, similar to the plane story like that have probably not been released. All right, but I would highly tell Horace, please don't go on TV and talk about this because nothing good comes out by displaying those kind of feelings in the public setting. Okay, particularly in a show like Undisputed, where you got a guy like Shannon Sharpe, you know what I mean, that is basically very biased against LeBron James, but I don't think he's not going to be biased in this case. And then you got Skip Bayless, who loves Michael Jordan, pretty much like a god. You know what I mean? And it's just not a good dynamic to spill your beans around. These are the kind of things that you should go to a counselor or something like that. Keep it behind the scenes and not tell it to anybody because it's not their business. All right. But Horace was just the leak that just kept on coming. Remember, he also had a really good relationship with Stan Smith of the Chicago Tribune, particularly when he was writing the book called The Jordan Rules in 1992. All right, everybody in the media can all tell you that Horace Grant was the leak that basically told all the stories. If Stan Smith did not have Horace Grant as his top source, the book does not get made, and nobody would even take it seriously. All right, so then the day though, man, Horace Grant should not even think about going on TV and spilling that kind of stuff. Okay, he should just talk to a therapist, get your feelings out of there, and just basically put it to rest and let it go. Because, bro, what good does it come out by just basically talking about all these kind of things out in the open to the public for people to either ridicule yourself or ridicule Michael Jordan in a sense? Because there's a lot of people out there that look at Michael Jordan in a different light right now. For me, it hasn't, because I already knew a lot of the stuff before the documentary came out on The Last Dance. Okay, I already knew most of the stuff beforehand, but all this doing is adding more, fuel to the fire. There's a good old saying in life: two wrongs do not make a right. Okay, and this definitely applies in this situation. What Horace Grant is thinking about doing is not going to make things right. It's only going to make things worse, and it's going to make his reputation look really, really bad. So I would tell Horace Grant very heavily, listen, please don't go on television. Just let this go. Just talk to a therapist. Just talk to somebody that you could trust that's not going to basically spill the beans out in the open. Because if you decide to go on TV and tell that in front of a national audience, it's going to look really, really bad. I'm telling you, it will not look bad for both himself and for Michael Jordan. All right. Now you can call me an apologist or whatever. I am not excusing, Jordan's behavior. I'm not excusing that at all. I'm telling you that spilling out the secrets and spilling out all the stuff out in the open when it's already been 2 decades, listen, man, it's not going to help anything. In fact, it's only going to make things worse for both yourself and for Michael Jordan too. So that's just my 2 cents on the situation. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Peace.